build a life of abundance by refusing to shrink your dreams to fit your fears, by choosing growth over comfort even when it feels uncomfortable, by understanding that abundance is not something you chase but something you create through your mindset, your habits, and your daily actions, by waking up every day with intention instead of reaction, by valuing your time like it's your most precious currency, by surrounding yourself with people who expand your vision instead of limiting it, by turning setbacks into stepping stones instead of excuses, by believing that you are worthy of more even when the world gives you less, by taking consistent action even when motivation fades, by mastering patience because real abundance is built slowly but surely, and by realizing that the moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment everything starts to change. You don't build a life of abundance by waiting for the perfect moment, you build it by taking imperfect action every single day, even when you feel unready and uncertain, because growth begins the moment you decide to move forward despite your doubts. And in that movement you start discovering strengths you never knew you had, turning hesitation into confidence step by step, and slowly creating a life that reflects courage instead of fear. Abundance begins in your mind before it ever appears in your reality because the way you think shapes the way you act, and the way you act shapes the life you experience. So if you constantly focus on lack you will always feel behind, but when you train your mind to see opportunities, possibilities, and solutions, you start attracting outcomes that align with that powerful perspective. The people you choose to keep around you will either elevate your vision or shrink your potential, because energy is contagious and influence is powerful. So if you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and limitation, you will slowly become that, but if you choose growth-minded, driven, and supportive individuals, your mindset will expand beyond what you once believed was possible. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality because motivation will come and go, but discipline stays when things get hard, and it is in those difficult moments where true growth happens, where you choose consistency over comfort, effort over excuses, and progress over perfection, building a strong foundation that leads to long-term success. You must learn to see failure differently, not as a sign to stop but as feedback to improve, because every setback carries a lesson that moves you closer to success, and those who build abundance are the ones who refuse to quit, who adapt, learn, and come back stronger each time, turning every obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Your time is your most valuable asset, far more precious than money because once it is gone you can never get it back, so how you spend your days determines the quality of your life, and when you start investing your time in meaningful actions, productive habits, and purposeful goals, you begin to create a future filled with abundance and fulfillment. Gratitude is a powerful force that shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, and in that shift you begin to feel richer, calmer, and more fulfilled because abundance is not only about having more, it is also about appreciating more, and when you operate from gratitude, you naturally attract more things to be grateful for. Fear will always try to hold you back by making you doubt your abilities and question your worth, but abundance requires courage, the courage to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, and to trust yourself even when the outcome is uncertain, because every breakthrough lies on the other side of fear. Consistency may seem boring and repetitive, but it is the secret weapon of those who succeed, because small actions repeated daily create massive results over time, and while others are waiting for big opportunities, you are building them quietly through your persistence, your focus, and your commitment to growth. At the end of the day, building a life of abundance is about taking full responsibility for who you are and where you are going because no one is coming to change your life for you, and the moment you accept that truth is the moment you gain the power to transform everything, creating a future that is not limited by your past but driven by your vision. Abundance is not reserved for the lucky or the privileged, it is created by those who decide that their circumstances will not define their future, by those who refuse to stay stuck in excuses and instead rise through action, learning to turn even the smallest opportunities into stepping stones, and building momentum that carries them toward a life far greater than they once imagined. You cannot grow into abundance while holding on to a mindset of scarcity, because the fear of losing will always be stronger than the desire to gain, so you must train yourself to think bigger, to believe that there is enough success, enough wealth, and enough opportunity for you too, and once that belief becomes real, your actions will begin to reflect it naturally. Every skill you develop becomes a tool that shapes your future because the more you learn, the more valuable you become, and the more value you bring into the world, the more opportunities will come your way. So instead of wasting time on distractions, focus on building knowledge, improving your abilities, and becoming someone who cannot be ignored. Patience is a silent strength that most people underestimate, because in a world of instant gratification, waiting feels uncomfortable, but real abundance takes time to grow, just like a seed needs nurturing before it becomes a tree, and those who stay consistent through the waiting period are the ones who eventually enjoy the deepest rewards. You must learn to detach from outcomes while staying committed to effort because when you become obsessed with results, you create pressure and fear, but when you focus on giving your best every day, you create progress, and progress always leads to results in the long run, even if it takes longer than expected. The way you speak to yourself matters more than the way the world speaks to you because your inner voice shapes your confidence, your decisions, and your actions. So if you constantly criticize and doubt yourself, you will hold yourself back, but if you encourage, believe, and support yourself, you unlock a level of potential that changes everything. Opportunities rarely come perfectly packaged, they often arrive disguised as challenges, hard work, and uncomfortable situations. And those who recognize this truth are the ones who move forward while others hesitate, understanding that growth is never easy but always worth it in the end. You don't need to have everything figured out to start because clarity comes through action, not overthinking, and the more steps you take, the more direction you gain. So instead of waiting for certainty, take the first step, then the next, and let your path reveal itself along the journey. Letting go of what no longer serves you is essential if you want to make space for abundance, whether it's toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or habits that keep you stuck, because you cannot carry negativity into a positive future. And the moment you release those weights, you begin to move faster toward your goals. Abundance is ultimately a reflection of who you become, not just what you achieve, because success without growth feels empty, but when you evolve into a stronger, wiser, and more disciplined version of yourself, everything you gain becomes more meaningful, and your life transforms in ways that go far beyond material success. You don't attract abundance by chasing everything at once, you attract it by focusing deeply on what truly matters, by cutting out distractions that steal your energy, and by committing your time and effort to a clear purpose, because when your focus becomes sharp, your progress becomes unstoppable, and your results begin to multiply in ways that once felt impossible. Your environment silently shapes your future because what you see daily becomes what you believe is normal. So if you stay in places that limit your thinking, your growth will slow down, but when you place yourself in environments that inspire, challenge, and push you forward, you begin to evolve naturally without even realizing it. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is execution, because ideas without action remain nothing more than imagination, and while many people wait for the perfect plan, those who win are the ones who start, adjust, learn, and keep moving, turning simple ideas into powerful realities through consistent effort. You must stop comparing your journey to others because everyone is moving at a different pace, facing different challenges, and walking a unique path, and when you compare, you lose focus on your own growth, but when you concentrate on improving yourself every day, you begin to create a life that is truly your own. Hard times are not meant to break you, they are meant to build you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient, because every challenge you overcome adds another layer of strength to your character, and over time, those struggles become the very foundation of your success story. Confidence is built through action, not waiting, because the more you do, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable, and with every small win, your belief grows stronger, allowing you to take bigger risks, chase bigger goals, and step into a version of yourself that once felt out of reach. You must learn to control your emotions instead of letting them control you, because abundance requires clarity, and when you react emotionally to every situation, you lose direction, but when you stay calm, focused, and intentional, you make better decisions that lead to better outcomes. Success is often hidden in the things you don't feel like doing, in the early mornings, the late nights, and the moments when quitting feels easier than continuing, and those who push through these moments are the ones who separate themselves from the average and step into extraordinary results. Your habits define your future more than your goals ever will, because goals give you direction, but habits create your reality, and when you build strong, positive routines, you start moving towards success automatically, without needing constant motivation to keep you going. At some point, you have to decide that you are done living a life that is below your potential, that you are ready to rise, to grow, and to create something meaningful, and once that decision becomes firm, everything begins to align because your actions, your mindset, and your energy all start working toward a life of true abundance. You don't step into abundance by accident, you step into it through intentional choices made daily, by deciding again and again that you will not settle for less than what you are capable of becoming, and even when the path feels uncertain, you keep moving forward with belief, because that belief fuels the actions that eventually reshape your entire life. The comfort zone is the most dangerous place to stay for too long because while it feels safe, it slowly kills your growth, your ambition, and your potential, and those who build abundant lives are the ones who willingly step into discomfort, who embrace challenges, and who understand that every uncomfortable step leads to a stronger version of themselves. Your vision must be bigger than your current reality because if you only aim for what feels possible right now, you will never expand beyond it, but when you allow yourself to dream bigger, to imagine more, and to set goals that stretch your limits, you begin to unlock levels of effort and creativity you didn't know existed. Excuses will always be available, but growth requires accountability because the moment you stop blaming circumstances, people, or past mistakes, you take back control of your life, and in that control lies the power to change everything, one decision, one action, and one habit at a time. You must learn to celebrate small wins because progress is built in small steps, not giant leaps, and when you acknowledge those steps, you build momentum, confidence, and motivation to keep going, turning small victories into major achievements over time. There will be moments when no one believes in you, when your efforts go unnoticed, and when results feel far away, but those are the moments that define you, because if you can keep going without validation, without applause, and without immediate success, you are building a level of resilience that guarantees long-term abundance. Energy is everything because the way you show up each day affects your actions, your decisions, and your outcomes, so if you protect your energy, focus it on what truly matters, and avoid draining situations, you will have the power needed to create and sustain a life of success. You don't need to have all the resources to start because resourcefulness is more important than resources, and those who succeed are the ones who find ways to make things work, who adapt, who improvise, and who refuse to let limitations stop them from moving forward. The more you give value to others, the more value returns to you because abundance flows where contribution exists. So when you focus on helping, serving, and improving the lives of others, you naturally create opportunities, connections, and success that come back to you in powerful ways. In the end, abundance is a reflection of your persistence, your mindset, and your willingness to grow because it is not about luck or chance, it is about becoming someone who refuses to quit, who keeps learning, and who continues to rise no matter how many times life tries to push them down. You build a life of abundance when you stop waiting for permission to become who you are meant to be, when you realize that no one is coming to validate your dreams, and that the responsibility to rise, to grow, and to create something meaningful is entirely yours, and once you accept that truth, you begin to move with a different level of urgency and purpose. Your mindset acts like a filter for your reality because it decides what you focus on, what you ignore, and how you interpret every situation. So if you constantly expect failure, you will find it, but if you train yourself to expect growth, lessons, and opportunity, you begin to see paths that others completely overlook. Consistency will test your patience more than anything else because results will not always show up when you expect them, and there will be days when it feels like nothing is changing, but those who stay committed through the silence, through the slow progress, and through the doubt are the ones who eventually break through. You must stop fearing rejection because every no you receive brings you closer to the right yes, and those who build abundance are not the ones who avoid rejection, but the ones who face it repeatedly, learn from it, and continue moving forward without letting it define their worth. Growth often feels lonely because as you evolve, you may outgrow people, habits, and environments that once felt familiar, but that loneliness is a sign that you are moving forward, that you are stepping into a higher version of yourself, and that you are making space for better things to enter your life. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now, because in every moment you are faced with decisions that either move you closer to your goals or pull you away from them, and when you consistently choose long-term growth over short-term comfort, you begin to shape a future filled with abundance. Your past does not define your future unless you allow it to, because no matter what mistakes you have made or what circumstances you have faced, you always have the power to start again, to learn, to grow, and to create a different outcome through new choices and new actions. You must become comfortable with uncertainty, because the path to abundance is never perfectly clear, and there will always be risks, unknowns, and challenges along the way, but those who move forward despite uncertainty are the ones who discover opportunities that others are too afraid to pursue. Self-respect is a key part of abundance, because how you treat yourself sets the standard for how others treat you, and when you value your time, your energy, and your worth, you naturally attract better opportunities, better relationships, and better outcomes in every area of your life. At some point, you have to stop talking about what you will do and start showing it through your actions because words create intention, but actions create results, and when you align what you say with what you do, you build trust in yourself, and that trust becomes the foundation of a truly abundant life. Abundance grows when you learn to focus on what you can control instead of stressing over what you cannot, because your energy is limited, and when you invest it wisely into your actions, your mindset, and your habits, you begin to see real progress, while those who waste energy on things beyond their control remain stuck in frustration. You must raise your standards if you want to raise your life because you will never rise above what you are willing to tolerate, and when you decide that average is no longer acceptable, that excuses are no longer valid, and that growth is no longer optional, everything about your behavior begins to change. The journey to abundance requires sacrifice, because you cannot hold on to comfort, distraction, and negativity while trying to build something meaningful, and those who succeed are the ones who are willing to give up short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment and purpose. Your results are a mirror of your daily routine because what you do repeatedly shapes who you become, so if your habits are weak, your outcomes will be weak, but when you strengthen your routines, discipline your time, and stay consistent, your life begins to reflect that strength. You don't need approval to start improving your life, because waiting for others to agree with your vision will only delay your progress, and those who achieve abundance are the ones who trust themselves enough to move forward, even when no one else understands their path. Every moment of discomfort you face is an opportunity to grow stronger because discomfort forces you to adapt, to learn, and to evolve, and when you stop avoiding it and start embracing it, you unlock a level of resilience that sets you apart from others. You must protect your focus like it is your most valuable asset, because in a world full of distractions, the ability to concentrate deeply on what matters is rare, and those who master their focus are able to produce results at a level that most people never reach. There will always be reasons to quit, to slow down, or to doubt yourself, but abundance belongs to those who keep going anyway, who push through resistance, who stay committed to their goals, and who refuse to let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. Learning never stops on the path to abundance, because the world is constantly changing, and those who continue to grow, adapt, and improve themselves are the ones who stay ahead, creating new opportunities instead of waiting for them to appear. In the end, the life you build is the result of the choices you make daily, because success is not a single moment, it is a collection of consistent actions, and when you choose growth, discipline, and purpose again and again, you create a life that reflects true abundance. Abundance begins the moment you stop doubting your own potential and start trusting your ability to figure things out along the way, because you don't need to have everything planned perfectly, you just need the courage to take the next step, and with each step you gain clarity, strength, and confidence that pushes you further than you ever expected. You must learn to stay committed even when excitement fades, because the early stages of any journey feel inspiring, but true growth happens when things become repetitive, slow, and challenging, and those who continue showing up in those moments are the ones who build something real and lasting. Your life changes when your priorities change, because what you choose to focus on daily determines the direction you move in, so when you start prioritizing growth, discipline, and purpose over comfort, distraction, and laziness, everything about your future begins to shift. You cannot build abundance while constantly looking for shortcuts, because shortcuts often lead to temporary results, but real success is built through patience, effort, and consistency, and those who commit to the process instead of rushing the outcome are the ones who achieve long-term fulfillment. The fear of failure holds many people back, but the fear of staying the same should push you forward, because remaining in a place where you are not growing, not improving, and not moving toward your goals is the real loss, and once you realize that, taking risks becomes easier. You must become disciplined with your thoughts, because not every thought deserves your attention, and when you allow negativity, doubt, and fear to dominate your mind, they influence your actions, but when you train your mind to focus on solutions, growth, and possibility, you change your entire direction. Abundance is built on consistency, not intensity, because doing something once with high effort is not enough. It is the repeated daily actions, the small disciplined steps, and the commitment to keep going that create powerful and lasting results over time. You must learn to invest in yourself, because the greatest asset you will ever have is your own knowledge, skills, and mindset, and when you continuously improve yourself, you increase your value, your opportunities, and your ability to create the life you want. There will be moments when progress feels invisible, when your efforts seem unnoticed, and when results are slow, but those moments are part of the process, and if you keep going despite them, you eventually reach a point where everything starts to come together. In the end, abundance is not about luck or chance, it is about becoming the type of person who refuses to give up, who keeps learning, who keeps growing, and who continues moving forward no matter how difficult the journey becomes. And in the end, you realize that abundance was never something outside of you, it was always built within you through your choices, your discipline, and your belief in what is possible, and as you look back at how far you've come, you understand that every struggle, every sacrifice, and every moment of doubt was shaping you into the person capable of living the life you once only imagined. So keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when no one is watching, because the life you are building requires patience, courage, and consistency, and one day all the effort you are putting in right now will make sense, turning into a reality that speaks louder than anything you ever said. Never settle for a life that feels less than what you know you are capable of, because deep inside you already know there is more waiting for you, and the moment you fully commit to chasing that more, you unlock a version of yourself that refuses to stop until it becomes real. Remember, abundance is not a destination you arrive at, it is a way of living, a mindset you carry, and a standard you refuse to lower, and once you adopt that mindset, every step you take, every decision you make, and every action you commit to moves you closer to a life filled with purpose, growth, and fulfillment.